Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Erythropoietin for red blood cell formation and oxygen. My dharma, the impeccable wisdom, the wisdom of the divine nature. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature with which perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank, the result of 60 years of integrated knowledge. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening. Akhand Vidya wisdom is empowering. Erythropoietin is one hormone. It's a glycoprotein hormone produced by liver and kidneys, and it is produced primarily when amount of red blood cells, hemoglobin, oxygen formation comes down considerably. As a result, the person is starting to suffer. Without oxygen, you can't make use of the 100 trillion cells, carbohydrates, and live perfectly healthy. An adequate amount of hemoglobin, RBCs, are essential for oxygen reabsorption from the atmosphere and distributed to all the cells. So in result, we need an adequate amount of red blood cells, which I would say 5 million per cubic millimeter of undiluted blood and hemoglobin of 16 milligram in male adults and corresponding maybe little slowly for females. One more hormone which plays very important role in the formation of hemoglobin, red blood cells, is testosterone. So an adequate amount of testosterone in male is also responsible for formation of more blood cells. But at the same time, without erythropoietin, new red blood cells are not formed. It has very important roles. And two organs which play important role in formation of erythropoietin is liver and kidneys. Now, secretion of erythropoietin is responsible for stimulation of red blood cells. As formation of red blood cells you have in different stages, and as you grow old, it becomes more concentrated in axial system of bone marrow in the body. Starts from zygote and then move on to liver and then move on to bone marrow and then to axial from periphery to the center is very important role. Then after erythropoietin comes there and start the formation of red blood cells, percentage red blood cells increases. As a result, they are carried in the blood to the lungs, and lungs help absorb more oxygen and then carried to the 100 trillion cells, and as a result we are able to make optimum use of life as a perfect, integrated, physically healthy, emotionally stable, mentally very powerful, and spiritually integrated with the universe to live the life of a perfect human being. As I've been saying from the slide 1, the perfect human being, objective of every slide is how nature designed the whole system of human being as a perfect being in tune with God, our representation God in human form, our living God as such. Is that I'm trying to prove we human beings are living gods, and only through us we can take care of the world as such. So creation of human being as a cosmic Purusha for the world's benefits cannot be denied at all. Now, having understood this, what is the role is played by erythropoietin in the formation of red blood cells, hemoglobins, and of course, oxygen absorption and utilization of oxygen to convert more of carbohydrates proteins and fatty acids get more ATP for much stronger functions for the entire body, that even as we grow older, we can still be in 50s, 60s, 70, 80, 90, 100, function like a 21 years young boy with the same dynamism, same physical health, same emotional stability, very powerful mind, and very intellectual person in tune with the universe. For that, different things are provided, and I'm sure most of the people go through the process of aging. We can prevent aging process, we can even curtail aging, we can even reverse aging. And this process of reverse aging is what I was concentrating as an individual who's trying to understand what is given in books, what is designed by nature, how in the light of mathematics, in the light of physics, chemistry, and perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, we can understand the system and try to live as young as we grow older. Whatever may be the age, we should be in a position to do wonders as we grow older. Let's not grow. Psychologically, you cannot help, but physiologically, we can be perfect. Psychologically, we could be as perfect as we want, and we can be in tune. This is a message which is my videos are trying to go to the world, that we human beings are quite capable of living a perfect, integrated human life for generations to come. Ancient Indian sages who were in tune with nature, they were said to have lived for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years and done wonders in the form of that. Since we can't go to the history and recreate that, but it gives us a chance. If they could do it, we can also do it. I don't expect everybody to follow what I'm trying to follow, but I think for me it's a golden opportunity. Being a medical doctor, understand maths, understand physics, understand chemistry, understand the perfect impeccable wisdom, and apply in day-to-day life that from atom to element to molecule to compounds to cells to tissues to every part of the 100 trillion cells, we can work as one unit, as alive, as dynamic as we want for generations to come. And this is again objective with which this particular product is made. Let's go to the kidneys are the ones produce it. Functional anatomy of integrated human anatomy I've already explained. This is just to revise that you have capsule, you have a cortical, you have medullary thing and calyx, and this is how whole thing is done. You have cortical nephrons which do for the formation of glomerulofiltration of 80% and juxtamedullary for concentration of urine to throw out the waste unwanted products from the body. And we can have a perfect kidneys which are designed in Deviank ratio, function with Deviank for generations to come without any problem at all. In the last slide, we did talk about the formation of blood pressure, how when blood pressure comes down considerably, we have a formation of angiotensin by liver, renin from kidneys, and then angiotensinogen and aldosterone from adrenal medulla to produce hormones, aldosterone, for reabsorption of water and sodium from the kidneys so that the low blood pressure is maintained to normal blood pressure. I've already explained. That renin angiotensin converter I've already explained. But here we are talking erythropoietin because oxygen is as vital as water, sodium, and electrolytes. And this also is done by the kidney. It's just to prove how intelligent are the kidneys. And it is done by macula densa erythropoietin cells which are close to distal convoluted tubule, which is very close to afferent arterioles, and efferent arteriole you can see in this picture. They can judge how much is water, how much water need to be reabsorbed, how much need to be thrown from efferent thing. As a result, when it comes down, is able to stimulate for the formation of erythropoietin from there. And that is the message which I'm trying to give it to you. Okay. Kidneys again are able to judge how much oxygen we have, how much blood we have, how much electrolytes we have, how much nutrition, glucose you have, and other ingredients are required, so we could live. And that system is done here itself as the urine is formed, because proximal convoluted will bring and 125 ml is dissolved. And then it's reabsorbed at this particular stage to keep the balance. If the amount of RBC is adequate, hemoglobin is adequate, oxygen is adequate, formation of erythropoietin from this place will not arise. It will arise only when it comes down considerably and we are suffering. So hypoxia is the reason for the formation of erythropoietin. And that is also one of the reasons by at sea level in Chennai, where I live, 16 grams of hemoglobin per 100 ml of undiluted blood is the ideal, even at 60, 70, 80, 100. And if we can maintain that, we are perfect even as we grow older. From that, I have explained this juxtaglomerular apparatus of kidneys, and the structure is afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, distal convoluted tubules, macrodensa. They get the more formation of renin as well as erythropoietin for formation of RBC, hemoglobin, and oxygenation. Why oxygen is important is also something we should understand in this particular concept. At sea level in Chennai, where I live, the partial pressure of oxygen is 160 mm. But alveolar, which absorb oxygen and throw out carbon dioxide with a natural process, the 61.80% of the carbon dioxide is thrown out and absorption is all. At alveolar level, the partial pressure of oxygen is 100, and this 160 and 100 is the Wieck ratio. And then the oxygen is carried in the blood to all the 100 trillion cells. You can see at the partial pressure at this particular juncture is literally around 38.1966. So that is also representing the Wieck ratio. Is this a coincidence? No. To have a perfection in the world, nature uses only mathematics to make things as we want. And this is an example of that nature that we can bring perfection in our body with the help of mathematical, because conclusive scientific design is always done with mathematics, and it will be conclusive mathematics. And I'm just trying to prove the language of nature is mathematics. Everything is designed with mathematics. If we can achieve that in mathematics, we can do wonders. And this is one part where again Wieck plays very important role. Red blood cell formation, as I told you, in a fetus, you have 3 stages. Yolk sac is the first trimester, then liver and spleen are the second, and then third stage moves on to medulla, bone marrow of the bones. Initial stages, it is the periphery, and then slowly goes to axial skeleton as we start growing older. And that is what I talked in the beginning, and I'm showing this picture. To start with, it is yolk sac, then liver and spleen, and then the bone marrow, red bone marrow to produce. So I think now the picture is very clear how this formation. And as for the erythropoietin is concerned, third stage, myeloid stage, is what we call erythropoietin's function. And when it starts functioning to produce more RBCs, and the third stage itself. Now, having stimulated the new formation of red blood cells, hemoglobin for more oxygenation. I'm bringing again another aspect of Devyank into the mind. Red blood salvations are developed in 10 stages of development. And all these pictures which I'm using for internet, done by others, not by me. It's just to prove I'm not creating it. I'm just bringing the uniformity. That first stage of creation is equivalent to 22 by 21, which I call Brahmank. Then 10 stages of development, which I call Vishnu Ank or Vishnu incarnation or Dasavatar, is seen everywhere, including in this. But in this particular stage, I would say erythropoietin starts functioning at the third stage itself, not before and not later. So important role of erythropoietin is formed by liver and kidneys. I've told you spleen, liver. Then third stage of development is in red blood cells. Then burst forming is erythrocytes. And erythrocytes by and large are irregular in shape. Size is 20 micron. Cytoplasm is basophilic. Nucleus is active. Function differentiation. And you can see stage of third, which is burst forming erythrocyte stage, right at the bottom, which is third from the top, you can see very clearly. In other words, when blood cells are formed, erythropoietin produced by liver as well as kidneys start developing new RBCs from third stage itself. So hormone plays much bigger role than other things required the formation of red blood cells. So I'm sure very clear. Yolk sac, then you have spleen and liver, and erythropoietin is from spleen and could also be, and it is from liver, and it is also from kidneys. And then the formation in red blood cells, third stage on to complete. And as we grow older, then hemoglobin is formed, an intermediate stage, and blue basophilic cells, you can see irregular here on top left side, start becoming red, and finally by the time mature RBC comes out is pure red with perfect 4 molecules of hemoglobin, and things are done. So I think this picture also clear how beautifully it is designed. As I told you, respiration is very important, pranayama is very important, and at this particular stage 160, and right at the bottom you can see in neural response is such. One dichotomy which is taught to the student, which I want to correct here, is prime function of respiratory system is not exchange of gases. It is absorption of oxygen from atmosphere and expulsion of 61.803% of carbon dioxide only. The remaining is kept for other things. If this particular design is maintained throughout life, even when we grow older, you'll have no problem with respect to RBC, hemoglobin, oxygen absorption, and utilization for rest of the cells for the entire life as a walking, talking encyclopedia of a young man of 100 years who represents 21 years alone. How far would I succeed? Let's wait and see. But I think in the last 20-30 years, ever since I got serious into spiritual science, I have improved day by day, and I can say at this age, I'm not the way my contemporaries are. And all my work is one man again to show that is a proof of intelligence. And for intelligence, hemoglobin is important. And for that, testosterone is important for muscle levels. And erythropoietin is important, and other hormones important. If you can maintain that, you can maintain continuity of excellent work for generations to come. This is again oxygen and hemoglobin stimulus. Kidneys produce erythropoietin. When there is a decrease in tissue oxygenation, and they lead to the formation of hemopoietic stem cells, fluorescent red cells, and dual. And what are the factors which decrease? Also low blood volume, anemia, low hemoglobin, poor blood flow, and pulmonary diseases are the root causes. And having explained that, let's move. I also told you that there are 4 hemoglobins per each RBC. And as the concentration goes up, oxygen is absorbed into the first molecule, then to the second, then to the third, then to the fourth. If you can maintain that consistency absorption systematically step by step, wonderful. I can tell you also 61.803% of oxygen is absorbed beautifully, and you can function with the aerobic side even when we do aerobic exercises. But beyond that particular level, it becomes anaerobic, and that is another part we'll talk about it some other time. This is one part which I want to keep it in mind, and that nature is designed so. Then hemoglobin formation also I told you. You start 10 stages. Erythropoietin plays a role from third stage, and formation of hemoglobin starts from intermediate stage to the late, and then reticulocyte and RBCs comes from that. So early expansion, late expansion, and terminal maturation or initiation is what is designed here. And also I'm talking about hemoglobin structure and the changes which are important for a perfectly healthy life. 10 stages the RBC formation and other things I have already explained, and here I am repeating again, burst forming is the third stage. Intermediate 7th stage is wet polychromatic no mitosis, where hemoglobin start forming. That particular change of color from blue to many colors and then to red color, and then finally this is how it goes. I think this has also been explained. Having explained that, coming to the final stage, let's not talk much. I think I've already explained. If renin plays an important role in renin, angiotensin, aldosterone to bring a reabsorption of water, sodium to maintain blood volume and concentration and blood pressure on one side. Erythropoietin is for oxygenation, which is as vital as water and other things. So Agni or the fire is oxygen, and that is also something I've explained. And I think at this stage, this should be more than enough to prove how beautiful is the human system. So thank you very much.